Dr. Amita Kuttner is someone that I respect enormously, and in this interim position where we turn the page and start rebuilding, and I couldn't be happier.
The Green Party has named an interim leader. Meet Amita Kuttner, a 30-year-old non-binary astrophysicist. Kuttner ran for the leadership last year, but also lost to enemy Paul. Paul quit last month, calling it, quote, the worst period of her life. There were internal attempts to oust her leading up to the election, which saw a significant drop in support for the party. Amita Kuttner is in Vancouver. Amita Kuttner, thank you so much for speaking with us. In the news release from the Green Party, it states that you are the youngest, first trans person and first person of East Asian descent to lead a federal party. Tell us what this moment means to you.
It's overwhelming, to be quite honest, especially to jump right into this. It's an honor, and it is a huge responsibility to represent as much as I can, but just be here as legitimately and as integrally as possible.
Now, the Green Party, to put it bluntly, is a mess right now. Why did you put your hand up to be the interim leader?
Well, the Greens are like my family. It's been so painful to watch this last year. I think the Green Party is a necessary voice in Canadian politics to really show that things can and must be done differently if we're going to have a livable future. So I feel like I have the right skill set. I really want to help. So I put my name in, and here we are.
Describe to me what was painful about the last year from your perspective.
Well, in the face of a very real external emergency that is very personal to me, I lost my own family and home in a mudslide. And as we saw this year in British Columbia and across the country and across the world with heat domes and fires and flooding, it's so urgent. And so for us to be distracted, in a sense, by fighting each other when we need to be and we must be there on the national stage, that hurts. But I also understand from a human level how personal and important all these feelings are, how real and necessary they are to work through for people. So even in that, the individual pain as well was there for me.
Do you see it as your role to bring an end to the infighting?
It's the role of every single member of the party. I am here in their service to facilitate and support that process as much as possible, but it's definitely a collective responsibility to work on that.
So as interim leader, what can you do to achieve that?
Hopefully, we can work through some steps towards healing, which should include learning to have good conflict resolution principles. It can be actually addressing the problems of discrimination and abuse that have come up while respecting and making sure that survivors are centered, but also making sure that the people who have done these things are treated with kindness and compassion. And also just digging back into community, doing this through the process of reconnection, making sure that people understand that we're rebuilding trust. We do trust each other. We can trust each other, and that we're there for each other through everything.
And when you're talking about survivors, what specifically do you mean?
Well, anybody in the party who has gone through harassment or abuse, whether in the party or outside, is going to have probably had a difficult time with everything that's come up. And some of it is very direct discrimination and hate. And for any of that, if you've been, the receiver of it, then we need to care for you.
That's what's going on internally. You also have another fight when it comes to, not fight, I don't want to say fight. That's what you need to work on internally, and you acknowledge there's work to be done within the party. But there's also work to be done with Canadian voters to rebuild trust. After the last election, the party lost a significant amount of the vote. What are you going to do to help get the party back on track and gain some of that ground?
I hope that we really dig into grassroots organizing and making sure that our EDAs are strong, and that we together form a sense of who we are, that we come into our own and show every single Canadian voter who and what we actually offer, which I don't think we've been able to do through all of this. And I think that we have something very special, different, transformative, and important, and yet it has not been well communicated. But to do so, it needs to be a collective effort of all the membership, of everybody on Shadow Cabinet, of our caucus, going through this process of saying how can we share the truth of ourselves and the complexity of ourselves in a way that will show that we are ready to lead and we are ready to be the best community serving representatives and MPs you could ever have.
Now, last month, we spoke to Green Federal Council President Lorraine Reckmans and Green Fund co-president Karina Serda. And when we asked them about Annamie Paul's June allegations that the attempt to force her out was driven by sexism and racism, they said it would be undertaking an investigation. Has that investigation started? And if so, where does it stand?
Well, I just started this job very late last night, so I do not know.
Fair enough. Will you pledge, though, that the findings of that investigation will be made public?
That is not going to be up to me, as I am now a single member of the Federal Council, and it will be a Federal Council collective decision, hopefully in consensus, as to what happens there. But I believe that transparency is important, and when going through anything that has been a difficult period, knowing the truth can really make a difference.
The party has also faced some significant financial challenges throughout the past year. What can be done to get the party on better financial footing?
Well, I think definitely rebuilding trust that we are providing something that is worth supporting is where we start. But from what I can tell is most of the Green membership and the base is still there waiting for us to regain strength and go at it. So we'll be trying to do everything that we possibly can to raise funds, and hopefully we'll make it fun in the process.
And in terms of your role, where do you want to see things go next? This is an interim position. What do you see your role moving forward after the interim position?
After the interim position, I'm not sure. I hope that during this time I can help build the party's strength, stability, resilience, put on an amazing leadership race so we can find a fantastic leader to take over and really work on that healing as much as possible. But where I stand after this, I'm not sure.
Amita Kuttner, we'll leave the conversation there. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.